Reddit, what made you ghost a friend? When I came home to find the power off. Bill hadn't been paid. We were friends from work. He had split up from his ex and I needed to be closer to work. We went 50-50 on a rental. He has 3 kids from the previous relationship. With me being the nerd, I agreed to pay the tech bills. Internet, phone, cable TV. He agreed to pay the power as he burned more because his kids were over on access visits. Came home. Dark house. Investigate. He hadn't paid the power for ages because his new girlfriend wanted the money. Then I discovered he wasn't paying his rent either, same reason. Down $5,000, power, rent, we were evicted. Ghosted. That's just unacceptable. I had him contact me on the Book of Faces. Can we talk? Sure, send me a $5,000 bank check, and we're on. I had a guy who did similar to me, when living in a student share house, but for a much lower amount, thank God. Before we kicked him out, he was using his parents' business card to buy stuff for other housemates, for which they gave him cash to use to pay rent and bills. Still left us owed a month's rent and bills. After he left my place, he must have told his parents some sob story about us. Because they set him up renting their investment property with 3 other students. About 8 months later, the parents arrived at the door one morning ready to evict all 4 tenants for no payment of the rent. Turns out the others had been giving rent to the son, but he had not been paying it to the parents for about 6 months. Years later, he came into the pub I was running and was surprised when I told him not to come back unless he had the money he still owed. He gave me $100 that day but still owed plenty. Started talking shit about me to my GF and best mate. His dad had a history of drinking problems and he was starting to exhibit the same behavior, so I suggested we should both take a break from drinking for a while and try to focus on some healthier shit. He apparently took that as I'm not the same person and my GF was the person who changed me. Sounds like somebody didn't want to be held responsible for his own actions and it cost him his friend. Pretty much. But I'm better off without him, and maybe after that happened he is too. You sound like you still wish the best for him after all that. You're a good person. When I realized a lot of the things that made her laugh were at my expense. She thrived off of humiliating me. I was bullied in school, but my worst bully was my best friend. I used to come home and cry to my mom. I would be heartbroken over how my best friend was treating me. Honestly, I don't remember what my mom would tell me, but I wish she would have told me that I was worth way more than the treatment that I received from her, that she was a bad friend and I should drop her, that I had friends who treated me with respect and that I should spend my time with them, that she would have forbade me from hanging out with her, anything. Anything. I wasted something like 15 years with that girl in that abusive friendship. I'm sorry that happened to you. Your mom probably didn't know what to say. On one hand, she probably wanted to let you make your own decisions, and on the other hand, she probably wanted to punch your friend's face. My daughter, bless her heart, had a similar story. Unfortunately, I don't really feel empathy right now, but I'm seeing people to try and help. Anywho, I told her if your friends make you feel like crap all the time, maybe they are not your friends, but before you just stop a friendship, talk with them if it's important to you, and I'll support you either way. The good girl, she has talked with her friend. Turns out her brother was depressed and suicidal and the poor girl didn't know how to handle it and was lashing out at everyone. I'll be honest here, some of the stuff my daughter's friends said made me very angry, but I took some time to think the situation over, then talked with my daughter. Guy told me you'll never be a good teacher. After 2 years of unemployment following my graduation with a teaching degree, I realized the bastard had meant every joking insult he'd ever said to me. This is why insult humor is hard for me now. I still have relationships which throw around a lot of humor like that, but it comes from a place of absolute trust. We know each other's no-go spots, and the stuff we can joke about each other on. Generally, it's riffing off stupid shit we've done, not who we are or what we believe. Generally, it's riffing off stupid shit we've done, not who we are or what we believe. This is the big one. Most people can laugh about something stupid they've done in hindsight, because they wouldn't do it again. Most people don't like laughing at inherent features of themselves, especially when they're unchangeable or not considered negative. It's that old metaphor, tennis balls off a brick wall. It's a tennis ball, that's a brick wall, no harm done. Bounce all day and it's just good fun. The moment you start throwing bricks at a glass wall is when there's an issue. You know your friend's glass walls, even a tennis ball can be risky aim there. Safer to stay away. When I realized the relationship was one-sided and they only cared about themselves. Yeah, I had a relationship that was really great for a while, but over time I realized they just didn't care much for me anymore. It was always them needing something. I just got out of a relationship like that, just before quarantine. 3 years of living together, building a life, and exploring, all for her to decide she'd rather be single because her coworkers told her she should be. Like, fuck, I guess I didn't mean that much after all. Co-worker is probably her new man/woman. Dude, I'm sorry you're going through this. Me and my ex were 5.5 years and the story is the same, only it was uni. This is after I had finished uni and been on my best behavior, cut off loads of potential friendships and was always there for her minus a few mistakes that I desperately made up for. Young love is tough and it's a hard lesson. Focus on you and all the time you have to follow your goals. Live for yourself and someone who doesn't want to let go will find you. Stay strong. I love this girl. She was so clutch for me when my life was in ruins. The issue was that she and I were both addicts at the same time and both came from the same types of affluent families, but for whatever reason, I got clean and I turned my life around while she got worse. She and I were both addicts with eating disorders, alcoholism, and both addicted to Xanax. I got clean and only recently, 7 years later, have started experimenting with maybe 1 or 2 beers per month if I'm out with my husband. She ended up with this awful guy who she will not give up, who got her hooked on meth. I was there for her for a long time. After rehab and a few arrests, she stayed at my house for a bit on 2 different occasions. But the last time she did, she tore my house apart looking for alcohol, which we didn't have, stole my ID so she could get Postmates to deliver vodka to my house, and nearly got us both killed by grabbing and yanking my steering wheel while I was going 80 miles per hour up I-95. I've tried so many times to help her get and stay clean, but she keeps going back to that guy and her triggers are my triggers. I had to distance myself because she was making me relapse. But you also know, she won't accept help from anyone until she's ready. I know it hurts and it hurts to watch. I've gone through it myself with a friend. Unfortunately, it's out of our control. On the other hand, go you gaining control of your own life. And I hope you're around people that are better for you. I do know that, which is why I'll always be here for her when she's ready to get clean and finally kick this guy to the curb. But until then, I can't keep putting my life or my family at risk for her. I love her, but I have to love her from far away until she makes that choice for herself and sticks to it. When I realized I put so much more into the friendship than she did. Whenever we met up, it was basically time for her to vent about her life. She always had some ridiculous drama over something tiny. She had 2 sisters. It would change week to week which one she was talking with and which one she'd never speak to again. And then don't get me started on her hatred for her husband's family, mostly cause they were from a different ethnic background and social class. Lots of other similar issues that showed she was just a narcissist. For a while I put up with it cause catching up with her was a way for me to go drinking not on my own. Then there were a few big events in my life and she just wasn't there for me and didn't care. Well, she pretended to but sent her husband to take care of me. Then would try to get me to come listen to her yap on for hours. Or do stuff for her. If I tried to talk about my stuff, she'd criticize me and say everything isn't about me, then go on talking about how terrible it was that her mother-in-law didn't say the right thing to her. It just got to a point where I decided I didn't care about her drama and it was draining my life energy, and I decided my life would be better off without her. And it honestly has been. Edit, added in more details. Oh my god, I was friends with someone like this, except it was jobs and boyfriends, both changing roughly every 3 to 4 months. It was always someone else's fault for whatever problem, and it was always the same problems. It's exhausting, and so I had to cut ties. I stopped talking to my best friend of 10 years. Because she got sacked from 4 jobs in 8 months, and according to her it was all because the bosses were Indian. Too much insult humor, really fucked my esteem. Edit, since I can't possibly respond to all these and keep my sanity, we were friends for a while and it was almost always insult humor, and that combined with a shitstorm of other things just got to me and I took it personally and ended up blowing up at them. Now I really don't have any way to talk to them and don't care anymore. I had a friend who could only do insult humor. It really wears on you after a while, and they usually can't take criticism about it either. It was only a joke. And such excuses. I grew up with my family mainly using insult humor. It super wore me down and I was super depressed all through middle and high school because of it. Every time I would ask them to stop, they would be like, "Why can't you just take a joke, Calizarus? You're so touchy." For a long time there was a running joke, but also they thought it was true, that I was such a bitch who never admitted when she was wrong. From every other source in my life that was not the case, and certainly isn't now. Literally my sister started calling my dad Papa Bear, my mom Mama Bear, herself Baby Bear, and I was Bitch Bear. It was fucking constant. Finally, when I had to move back in for a bit after college, I snapped and told them it's not fucking funny. They begrudgingly stopped but acted like I was so sensitive and you couldn't say anything around me for fear of upsetting me. It's much better now, but it was super shitty to grow up in. Edit. This got a lot more attention than I was expecting. After I moved to a different city, I had a serious conversation with my mom about everything and why I was still mad about it. After that, she slowly changed her behavior, and as she's gotten older she has gotten much more empathetic. My sister moved out and also realized how toxic our environment was and made a lot of empathy improvements herself. I also grew up a lot and got much better at empathy. Overall, we are a much more functional family. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have a similar story, share it in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Have a great day, or night.